Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on 3 different horror movies. Horror movies, horrible trailers, perhaps. First, there's The Forsaken, then Freddy's Friday, and Hellriser. And not to pick on them, but 2 of them are Kings of Horror. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 12 available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free, Joe. It's totally free if you have Kindle Unlimited. Anyhow, so The Forsaken. It's kind of a weird movie. So it starts out with this crew of guys who have kidnapped a girl. And one of the guys got shot in the kidnapping process because of the bodyguards. Now, we never see the kidnapping, I don't think. It's a very low-budget movie. But they use this house as a hideout, and they find these diary excerpts indicating there's something evil in the house. And there is. Eventually, it possesses one of the crew, and then I think he starts trying to kill people. And then kind of the status changes with the characters, and the girl like has to help fight the evil entity. And one by one, I think the various members of the crew are killed and then I think she's the hero, and she's one of the crew. She's the only female sort of crew member here. Yeah, I don't know if this can work. It's kind of a mixture of crime, possession, and demonic entity. Maybe. First act, you establish the kidnapping, and it's all very normal for the kidnapping. See, they set her up at the end to shoot somebody. I don't know who. Let's see. Written by Joan Alvarez, directed by Yolanda Torres. Okay. Do I recognize any of the actors? No. But, so, initially it's a kidnapping. It's they're going to extort somebody. He's going to get his daughters back if he pays the money. But something went wrong. One of the guys got shot during the kidnapping. And he's in bad shape. But they're trapped at the house because, I don't know, the cops are looking for her or them. And this is the guy who I think coordinates it all. The girl wants to escape. Second act, she discovers the diary pages and eventually translate them. They're in Spanish. And there's something weird about the house. So first, something mildly weird, and then it starts to kick up. Meanwhile, there's a little back and forth between the kidnappers and the girl to establish more of her character. But slowly but surely, the demonic entity starts coming into play more and more. Weird stuff happens in the house. I think the guy who was shot mysteriously disappears or dies or is killed. And then one of them gets possessed or goes crazy, and they start killing each other. Eventually, the girl joins in. See, I think he's possessed. Eventually, the kidnapped girl joins in fighting the evil entity, which is kind of an interesting twist. I like that. So it could be good, but it feels very low budget in the look. I mean, I think they're trying to use what little they got to the maximum effect. By the end of the movie, the kidnapped girl is like calling a shot, so that's a little weird. I don't know, this could be an interesting status change. Status changes in characters are usually pretty interesting. So she goes from being kidnapped girl to leader of the fight against the demonic entity. It could be interesting. I definitely don't know who's going to survive, so it's called The Forsaken. Let's see if there's any write-up on it. Oh, yeah, here we go. When a group of misfits hired to kidnap a wealthy businessman's daughter. When a group of misfits is hired to kidnap a wealthy businessman's daughter, they hide out to await the ransom in an abandoned house. However, nothing goes according to plan. One kidnapper is killed and another is seriously wounded. The 4 remaining kidnappers, a lot of kidnappers, fatally decide not to take the wounded member of the group to the hospital, perhaps sealing their fate forever. That night, something horrific happens. A supernatural sensation takes over, originating at a peculiar door no one dares to open. Something violent is trying to break in, though it's unclear just who or what it is. Okay. It's not a bad pitch. Kind of like it. All right, let's see the next one. It's called Freddy's Fridays, and it feels a little bit like the other Freddy movie. Was it Five Nights at Freddy? Because it's about a guy who's luring prostitutes into this dungeon where crazy characters kill them. And then some detective goes undercover as a prostitute in order to find them. And eventually she does, but it's some sort of demonic entity. I don't know. I don't recognize these characters, and I don't recognize the whole Freddy's Friday. Is it supposed to be Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's? I'm not sure. Or is it supposed to be Freddy Krueger? Like, what is the reference here? Is Freddy the name of the criminal? Like, I'm not sure what's going on here. But it's a straight up sort of slasher monster movie kind of deal, I guess. I just don't get the characters. So, first act, prostitute gets called in, thinks she's going to have a fun time with her John, and she's brutally murdered by these demonic entities. Meanwhile, beginning of the second act, the cops are trying to pull the pieces together and figure out who's killing these prostitutes. Can't get anywhere until finally she decides to go undercover. More prostitutes are killed. She goes undercover, eventually, I don't know, finds the guy and starts putting the pieces together. By the end of the movie, the demonic entities are trying to kill her and everybody around her, and she eventually has to figure out how to stop them. I don't know, it's a little vague. The trailer doesn't quite come together for me. And it does feel also very low budget. Let's see if there's a write-up here. Okay, an evil man who lures female victims to a lair must be sacrificed by monsters. That's about as vague as the trailer itself. Need a little more info here. What kind of monsters? Are these demons that he summoned? Why do they look like cartoon characters? Finally, there is Hellriser. Not Hellraiser. Hellriser from the Kings of Horror. The first and third ones are the Kings of Horror. Another movie about killing prostitutes. Prostitutes are being killed. And that's about it. I mean, there's some other characters here. There's like a detective and a coroner and a few other like supporting cast and prostitutes and a hot female police detective. And something about someone trying to open the portals of hell. But I don't think they have nearly enough money to pull this off. They just don't. I mean, they've got lights behind a door and a smoke machine and a couple of filters. That's about it. It seems. They got a couple of really dime store effects at this point that you could have gotten out of a laptop. Let's see. I will play a little bit for you. Watch this. See? Yeah, see that? That's pretty low key these days. Like back in the 80s, oh, that was top notch. Now I think you got to do better than that. Guy's face, I mean, that's a pretty good effect. That's a more practical effect. It's not really clear what the heck's going on with this. Somebody's trying to open the portals of hell. It's not clear why. It's not clear who. Yeah, it's a bit vague. Let's see if there's a write-up. Oh, wait, I'll do the 3 acts. So first act, prostitutes are being killed again. Second act, they're trying to figure it out and then somehow stumble upon that somebody's trying to open the doors to hell. I'm not sure who, and for some reason they hook up a prostitute to a machine that shoots her full of electricity or magic. I can't tell. And then there's a big fight at the end, I guess, and lots of people die. It's kind of vague. All right. Here's the write-up. When their city is rocked by a series of brutal occult murders, veteran detective John Locke and his young partner Terry Keyes, are forced to put aside their differences and follow the trail of evidence to a formerly abandoned asylum where the new owner, Dr. Unseen, is conducting his own brand of Bad guys from Germany inspired medical research on the unwilling inmates. Okay, there's a lot going on in that description that I did not see really in the movie. I think I saw the Doctor Unseen. I don't think the puns are helping you sell this unless you're going for sort of like that trauma feel, in which case you might as well tell the actors to turn it up to 11 and never look back. Otherwise, I feel like this is too low budget of a movie. I think your ambition is too big for this. But I admire the effort, calling it Hellriser. Nice. All right, so we got 3 movies: Hellriser, Freddy's Fridays, and The Forsaken. Well, I gotta give The Forsaken the top spot here. That seems the most interesting. It does suffer from the same lack of budget, but seems like they're trying. They're really trying to make this work. So, out of these 3 movies, I would give this the best chance of being pretty decent. Because all it needs is a good script, and I think you can make it work. Second, I'd have to just right in order: Freddy's Fridays. It's not great. It feels a little derivative, but maybe they're not trying to do too much. They're leaning more into the practical effects a little bit. So it'll be a lot of jump cuts and whatnot, but it might be okay. It might be watchable for a horror fan. And at the bottom, I had to put Hellriser because it just doesn't look like it's there. And it's kind of falling short. So I'd have to put that on the bottom. But that being said, the last 2 really are kind of in the same category for me. I might watch it just to kill some time. The first movie I would watch with more interest. The other 2 are kind of like, let's watch a stupid horror movie kind of movies for me. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D. Squirmy Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more based takes. Thanks to all who came out for the Berwyn Vintage Flea Market. We'll be back tomorrow with the live stream where we do it live at 7. So hope to see you there. We'll see you